All right. My name is Chris Campbell. I'm a practicing CPA and I work with small to mid-sized businesses and individuals to help them pay the least amount of taxes possible while keeping them out of jail. So today I wanted to talk about some calls from clients that I get. I guess you can say it's a nightmare scenario. So you're minding your own business and you wake up and most business owners, or a good number of business owners that I know, they check their business accounts every day. Sometimes they check their personal accounts every day, or maybe that's just something that you may do on your own. You check your accounts every day. Or if you don't, you go about your business. However, you have your automatic draw set up and you either check your account and you see that your account's on zero or negative, or you go to the store to go buy something and it bounced. You're pretty certain that you have your money, that the money's in there to cover the bill. And whether the stuff bounces or you're looking at your account and it's on zero and you're like, what the hell happened? So you call your bank up, you ask why your account is on zero or why these things are bouncing. And your bank tells you the dirty word, you got a tax levy. And that's when you remember all of those tax notices that you got in the mail that you ignored, and then wondering that you should have taken care of. Usually what happens with clients, I'm usually the next phone call. Dave, I got this levy. Dave, they took this money out of my account. It's gone. Oh yeah, what happened? Oh, well, I owe these taxes and they levied the account. The money's gone. So what happened? There's really not much to say what happened, but that's usually a scenario of when you have a tax levy or a bank levy at your bank. So what is that? So what is a bank levy or a tax levy? So what happens is that the taxing authorities, whether that be the IRS, whether that be the state, business or personal, if they feel as though they're not being able to collect their money that you owe them, they do have the right to go into your bank account and seize money and take the money from your bank account to satisfy the debts. Now, there's usually a number of steps or attempts that occur prior to that. It usually happens after they have tried to reach out to you numerous times over a long period of time, and they just haven't received the response. So it's a thing where basically if you ignore them long enough, then that's how it'll get to this. So normally if you go and you are pretty proactive and showing good faith that you're working with said taxing authority to take care of your debt, it usually doesn't come to that. But usually what I've seen is that you had a debt that they've been trying to collect, say, over a year, and they haven't heard anything from you. Most of the time, they'll give you a good amount of leeway before it gets to that. So the key here is just being proactive. And when you get those notices, don't ignore them because they don't go away. They really don't go away. Now, if you do get a levy, what do you do? Now, so the way that the levy works is that the taxing authority will contact the bank and they'll say, okay, taxpayer owes us X amount of money, withdraw X amount of money from the account and pay us. Now, most of the time, you don't have X amount of money in that account. Otherwise, you probably would have already paid them, right? But the taxing authorities don't necessarily know what they have in your account. So, for example, if they say, okay, you owe us $15,000 and all the bank, the IRS or the state will put in a request to withdraw $15,000. Now, let's say if you don't have $15,000 sitting in your bank account, they're authorized to withdraw pretty much whatever you have in your account to satisfy that debt. So if they're asking for 15,000, you have 8, they're pulling 8, and then you're still on the hook for the rest. So chances are you haven't paid off everything that you owe when you actually get a tax levy. So what do you do when you get one? The first step is to contact that taxing authority, because once that money is on, there is no look, can we work things out, send some of it back, and then we'll work out a plan. Once the money is taken out of your account for a levy, it's gone. You have zero chance of getting that back, assuming that you legitimately owed that money. So if you didn't owe that money, then that's a whole other scenario. But assuming that you did owe that money, you're not getting it back. So the first step is you'll want to reach out and find out what your balance is at that point. Because keep in mind, interest and penalties are accruing. So you had that payment, but you need to know what your current balance is. So that's the first step. Do that. And then from there, make your arrangements to take care of the bill for the rest, because nothing's stopping them from doing it again until they get their full amount paid. Going back to the example, if you owe 15, you had 8 in your account, they take 8, you still owe 7. If you continue to ignore it, they could at some point do another levy for the 7. Now, usually from what I've seen, there's usually a good amount of time between levies. So I haven't seen a scenario where they've taken a levy and then 2 weeks later, they're going for another one. I think what happens with that is they want to give you time to reach out and try to activate a resolution on your own. And when most folks get your account cleaned out like that, it will make you do so, right? It will motivate you to do so, because no one likes waking up to an empty bank account when you weren't expecting it. So usually that will motivate someone to go ahead and put in that plan. So that would be the main step, is to reach out and work out a payment arrangement. If you're not able to pay the entire thing at this moment, to stop the levy, reach out, make a payment arrangement to at least stop the levy. Now, what may also happen, and I talk about this in another video, you may also have a lien. You may also have a lien that's filed, and that may or may not result a lien from taking a levy. Usually the liens stay on until everything is paid off. And again, I talk about this in another video and the implications of having a lien. But the main thing is, if you want to avoid those in the future, just go and work out a payment plan. And there are a number of strategies and things that you can do, whether that be an installment agreement, whether that be a pay in full in 90 days. There are ways, but can stop the collection process on there for about 6 months or so. But the idea is that you're going to get your information together to do a payment arrangement or have the money to pay in full. And that's what the IRS, I don't know if every state necessarily offers that, but there are a number of ways that the authorities will work with you. So the idea is just to make sure that you're proactive and showing good faith effort to pay everything down. And usually if you're able to do that, they'll work with you. So they resort to the levies when their notices go ignored, then they'll come after you. So this applies to both business and personal accounts. So moral of the story here is, don't ignore your tax notices. You don't want to handle it yourself. Make sure you get somebody on it to take care of these notices for you, because ignoring them only gets worse. Dig yourself into a larger hole, and you got to create more problems for yourself. So if you don't want to handle it, get somebody on it. Something that I'm happy to do, and something that I work with my clients all the time. So if you'd like my assistance, feel free to reach out. Hopefully that was helpful. And if you have any more questions about this topic or any other tax or accounting related questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help. All right. So that's all for now, and I'll talk to you in the next one.